Welcome to the Transformational Coach podcast with me, Rhona Barton, giving you competence with confidence. Well, hello and welcome back to this week's podcast. How are we all doing this week? We ready to put on our thinking caps and delve a little bit deeper into ourselves? As promised last week, this week we're moving on to our new topic. Our new topic is about authenticity. And this week's subject is about knowing yourself. So we want to learn more about what makes you, the wonderful person that you are. And there can be a lot to learn about you. It can be exciting. So I've got some questions for you again this week. As ever, grab your notepad and pen. Get those thinking caps on. Because some of what we're going to be thinking about is things like your top 5 positive feelings and your top 5 negative feelings. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, these can change day to day, sometimes even hour to hour, depending on what's going on at the particular point in time. And over the past few days, I would have to say that really my most prevalent feelings have been more on the negative side of things. So, I've been feeling disappointed. I've been feeling, I guess, a little bit vulnerable. And it got me thinking, what brings up those negative feelings in you? For me, it's been a couple of incidences that have happened when being out and about in amongst the general public. And I think it's reflected in the way some of us are dealing with, or not dealing with, I suppose, the global pandemic. Tempers have been frayed. People have been frustrated. They've been frightened. They're feeling lonely and really unsure of themselves. And that can have an impact on the way they interact with people. And I really felt it over the weekend when I was out and about. It really was probably the strongest feelings that I've had about it since the pandemic started. I mean, for me, going into lockdown, being told we have to stay at home and isolate ourselves, it didn't really feel like a very big deal to me. I mean, I am speaking as somebody who, spent almost 10 years wheelchair bound, paralysed, bed bound, and isolated from the world with my ME anyway. And I feel like that really did prepare me quite well for lockdown. It put me at a bit of an advantage compared to a lot of other people out there. And I know that people with chronic illnesses who are used to being in isolation, I mean, I say used to being like it's a good thing, but, they've got their own coping mechanisms. And I feel that's something that has been lacking. Certainly within the UK community, people have not been as adaptable as perhaps they would have been if they'd have had some advance notice of these things, being told a couple of days in advance that you're going to go into lockdown and it means you can't leave your house and you can't visit family and friends and, you've got to only go out for essential grocery shopping, for example, or if you're a key worker. I think that really curtailed a lot of people's expectations, and I'm not sure it was set up the best way for us. And certainly I've felt that impacted just over these past few days, more so than I have at any other point throughout the pandemic. And it's thrown me quite a bit. So, it impacted my sleep pattern. I haven't been getting a great night's sleep the past couple of nights. And in turn, it's really impacted my mood, and I've felt quite low. Now, I don't know what you do when you feel low, and if one of your strengths is to help pull yourself back out of that. But certainly one of my top strengths is I allow myself to wallow, if you like, for a short time, but I don't let myself live in that low mood. So I've been listening to some fabulous podcasts, and one of my favourites at the moment, and I will put a link to it in the show notes, is by a Welsh comedian and his wife. It's called The Froth. And it does have a little bit of mature content, shall we say, so listener guidance is advised. But the comedian is a gentleman called Rod Gilbert, and he and his wife have really good back and forth banter between themselves, also involving their lovely dog and some of their guests as well. And it really just put a smile back on my face, being able to listen to and laugh with other people who have been through their own challenges, let's put it that way. What that's allowed me to do is not ignore the negative feelings I've had, but really begin to look at them in more of a positive light. So, I have been laughing, and I've been really thankful that I have that strength of my own to be able to find my own way out when I do have a bit of a down day, and also very thankful for the witty humour that some of the UK's comedians have. They're some of the best podcasts that I can go to, but I also really enjoy listening to Brené Brown's Unlocking Us podcast. She did a whole episode on loneliness and isolation with one of the leading experts. And it just gives you a different way to view things. So I do like being enthusiastic about what I listen to and what I read and who I involve myself with. So I become, if you like, my own best self when I am surrounded by positivity and I can look at things with a bit of humour. And I wonder, what are your top strengths? What are your top 5 positive feelings? And when are you your best self? So take some time to think about that today. Think about when you're most creative and when you're most inspired. How do you get into that frame of mind? How do you get into that mood? What is it you actually do? And feel free to share some of your hints and tips with me and the rest of the listeners. It is appreciated. I think we all need to look at things across a wide spectrum at the moment with what's going on in the global pandemic. So if you've got ways and means to make yourself smile or to help cheer other people, please do get in touch. Let us know what you're thinking. Because I, for one, like to find new ways where I can test myself and challenge myself to grow a little and find out new and interesting things about myself. So let's share that with the rest of the community, shall we? Drop me a line over at social media or even via the likes of message boards on rhonabarton.co.uk, or drop me an email, rhona@rbalimited.com, and let me know what you think. Next week, we will be thinking about how we can actually be authentic, so you can express your authenticity in life. That'll be our next topic for next week. In the meantime, please know that I do appreciate you all listening. And those of you who have been in touch, thank you very much for that. Your messages do make me smile and cheer me up. So I always look forward to delving into the inbox and reading what you've got to say. Look after yourselves. Please continue to stay safe. And I look forward to speaking to you next week. Bye for now.